Hi, my favorite detective. I've got a new portion of tricky riddles for you to train your sharp mind. Let's start.
Yeah.
One summer night, Emily threw a big party. But in the morning, she discovered that someone had stolen all her jewelry and money.
Oh no!
The police have 3 suspects: Daniel, Emily's boyfriend, Lily, her best friend, and Hannah, the girl's sister. Daniel told the police that he'd been playing computer games with his friend all night long. Lily felt sick and went home in the middle of the night. She said she knew nothing about the theft when the police called her. And Hannah said that she had stayed at the party till 7 a.m. and then had taken a taxi home because nobody could give her a lift. It was dark and she couldn't see anything. Who was lying? Hannah. At 7 a.m. in the summer, it's already light outside. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing rooms. The police had 3 suspects, and all of them were from his team. Brandon said that after the training, he'd stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more. He hadn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swore that after the training, he had gone outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James said, "When I was leaving the changing room, the coach was still there." Who's behind the disappearance of the coach? It's Brandon. He said he hadn't been to the changing room yet. But look, he's wearing not his uniform, but his street clothes. Once, a mad professor kidnapped Zoe and held her in his house. Was he planning to experiment on her? There was no way the young woman could escape. But one day, the scientist got bored.
"You'll have to make breakfast for me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you go. If not, no one will hear about you again."
In the morning, Zoe went to the kitchen and started cooking. But when she turned away from the stove, the scientist threw a whole box of salt into the pot. However, when Zoe served him breakfast, he realized he had to set the girl free. Can you figure out what Zoe cooked? The girl boiled eggs. A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home, together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all tiles on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? You'll have just 1 rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first 2 letters of Atlas are AT. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with LAN. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are TA. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
You have to answer just 1 question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle.
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Niren. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the 3rd mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the 4th, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast!
The reflection of vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. "I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time?" Dora exclaimed, "I haven't touched your jewelry box." Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. "I don't even wear earrings." Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing. A beauty contest is taking place in the city. Melanie wins and gets her beauty queen crown. After the contest, a cleaning lady finds Melanie lying unconscious backstage. The detective arrives at the crime scene in 20 minutes. He asks the suspects just one question.
What were you doing within the last 20 minutes?
Holly, the rival, says,
I was taking selfies with my boyfriend.
Steve, the photographer, says, I was taking pictures of the contestants. Mr. Bold, the judge, says,
I was talking to my wife.
And the cleaning lady, Stella, says, I just found Melanie and called 911 right away. And then I just stayed with her until the doctor's arrival. Who's lying? Steve. There's Melanie in his pictures. Therefore, he couldn't have taken them within the last 20 minutes. Bella comes on a famous TV show for money. Her last task is to put her hand in one of 3 tanks. There are gold bars in each of them. She's allowed to get them if she can. One tank is filled with boiling water, and the second one with acid that will burn any flesh. And the third tank is filled with venomous scorpions. Which tank should Bella put her hand in? Bella should just wait until the boiled water cools off and use the first tank. James is walking in the woods. Suddenly, he spots a leprechaun. James grabs the creature and asks him, Where's your gold? Answer me now! The leprechaun says,
It's under this tree. Just let me go.
James replies, I don't have a shovel. I have to go home. But how can I find this place later? James comes up with an idea. He ties a red ribbon over the tree to recognize it among the others. And then James makes the leprechaun swear not to take off the ribbon. But the leprechaun finds a way to hide his gold from James without breaking the oath. What did he do? He tied a red ribbon on every tree in this forest. Tricky leprechauns. Holly and Sally prepare a new prank. They go to school at 5 a.m. and sneak into the classroom. Suddenly, they see a bat turning into their biology teacher. They spend all day staring at her. Is there any proof that she's a vampire? Take a look at her coat. She's hiding a very peculiar object in her pocket. Let's take a closer look at this group of people. One of the ladies is kidnapped. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the right. If the left lady was kidnapped, she wouldn't have had a handbag with her. Megan arrives from work and finds out that her cat is missing.
She must have sneaked out from the window.
Megan goes around the neighborhood and questions 3 possible witnesses. Molly says, I've just arrived from work. I didn't see any cats on the way. Mrs. Darling says, I already have 15 cats. Why do I need yours? Victor says, I'm allergic to most animals, so I've never had any pets. And I don't know how to help you. Who's lying? Victor. There are cat footprints in his garden leading to a pet door on his porch. So he obviously has a pet. 4 people in Halloween costumes robbed a bank. But eventually, they get caught and arrested the same night. One of them is only 12 years old. Can you guess who? This guy. His hands are too small for these handcuffs. Which lady is richer? The lady on the right. Her name is engraved on a handbag, and another woman is proudly wearing it. On Monday afternoon, students find their math teacher unconscious in the classroom. Someone attacked him during the lunch break. The police suspect that the criminal is one of the students. Can you spot this person? The teacher grabbed the attacker's shirt and ripped it. This guy doesn't wear a shirt. Therefore, he's a criminal. James and Molly have been married for 5 years, but they haven't taken a vacation yet. Finally, they decide to go to the ocean. To get there, they have to cross the border. The guard says, "You have to tell me the password if you want to pass." Can you help them crack the password? You should literally count the number of benches, trees, and apples in this area. So the code is 471. Dan and Sam are hanging out on a beach. Dan plays volleyball and then goes to a beach cafe to have some drinks. Dan tries his coconut. Soon after that, he feels sick and faints. Sam calls 911 and they take Dan to the hospital. The policeman questions 3 suspects. Sam says, "He drank a coconut from this cafe and felt sick. I think the waiter poisoned him." The waiter says, "Why would I do that? Dan played volleyball before coming here and won the game. Perhaps his opponent decided to get revenge." And Kyle, the opponent, replies, "We finished the game and I went swimming in the sea." Who poisoned Dan? Take a look at the score. Dan lost the game. Therefore, the waiter lied about his winning to frame Kyle. Sheila is taking a boat trip, but not all passengers are humans. Can you spot who's not? Take a look at the broomstick. It's levitating. She's a witch. It's a sunny Sunday morning. Gia and her daughter Lizzie are watching TV. According to the forecast, it will be a rainy and windy day today. Gia says, "Lizzie, please don't go outside today. You may catch a cold." Gia goes shopping and leaves Lizzie home alone. She comes back in about 2 hours. It was raining, and Gia immediately realizes that Lizzie did go outside. How did she know? Someone moved the umbrella. Kelly arrives at a hotel where she booked a room. The manager says that she can choose a room. There are 4 available options. Can you help Kelly make the right choice? There's a stinky dump behind the window in the first room. As for the second room, there's someone watching through this painting. And there's a zombie in the closet in the 4th room. So Kelly should stay in the 3rd room. Jack is a successful lawyer. He has a small country house where he lives alone. Once he goes on a business trip, 5 days later he gets home and discovers that someone has entered his office. His enemies must have searched it. How did he know? Someone lowered his chair. Stella goes to her favorite cafeteria to have lunch. She can choose one of 3 combos. But she's allergic to seafood, all green vegetables, and all red berries. Can you help her choose the safest option? First of all, let's exclude the third lunch. There are shrimp swimming in this soup. The chicken burrito combo looks good, but the dessert contains red berries. So, Stella should choose the lasagna. Lisa breaks her phone and goes to the service center. There, she meets 3 workers. One of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? This first guy. He's using a regular fork to repair the device. Peter is walking in a garden. He takes some pretty pictures of the full moon. Suddenly, someone pushes him from behind and he faints. After a while, Peter wakes up in a creepy basement. A mysterious voice says that Peter can escape through one of these 3 doors. There are multiple wolves behind the first door. They haven't been eating for 2 years, so they're very hungry and angry. There's a forest full of venomous monsters behind the second door. They hate humankind, and it's impossible to get through them alive. And there's a creepy werewolf waiting behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? Room 2 is a bad idea. It's a full moon. So room 3 is also unsafe. Therefore, Peter should choose the first door. Wolves can't survive without food for 2 years. Wendy is preparing a college project in a co-working space. She leaves her laptop on the table and goes to the bathroom. Then she returns and finds out that her laptop is gone. Who stole it? It's the lady on the right. Her hoodie pocket has an odd square shape. Claire is a famous treasure hunter. She gets an anonymous message with a clue leading to the rarest and most precious diamond in the world. Can you help her choose the right route? Only option C will bring her to the treasures. Claire arrives at the final destination and sees a high tower by the ocean. She enters and searches the space. There are multiple boxes and ancient scrolls everywhere. Can you see any clues leading to the treasure? Take a look at the runes on the boxes. In fact, they're mirrored regular letters. She needs this box because it literally says, treasure. Claire spots the right box. Now she needs a 5-digit password to open it. There's a clue attached to the box. Can you help her crack the code? To solve this mystery, we need to count the number of intersection points. And the code is 3254. Claire opens the box and finds a huge pink diamond. Suddenly, a fire starts in the tower. She has a few minutes to escape. There are 3 windows. The first one leads to a field with venomous snakes. The second one leads through boiling lava. And there's a huge tank with water and sharks under the third window. Which window should Claire jump out of? She should make a torch and jump out of the first window. Snakes are afraid of fire. Claire hits the road. Soon, she notices that an unknown car is following her. She drives off the road and hides in a supermarket. One of these customers stole food. Can you guess who? The old man carries groceries in his hands, and the guy has an empty basket. Meanwhile, the woman leaves the store without a bag or anything in her hands. Therefore, she's probably the thief. Claire goes to the parking lot and sees 4 drivers. Can you spot a beast among them? This one. Take a look at his spooky shadow. Suddenly, the spooky driver grabs Claire and yells,
Give me the diamond!
She pushes him and runs away to the railway station. Claire jumps on a train, leaving in a few seconds, but the pursuer jumps on the same train at the very last moment. Claire decides to hide in one of the rail cars. Can you find her? She's on the top shelf. The pursuer finds her, and she runs away from him on the train. Can you spot 10 differences between these two railway cars? Here they are. She goes to the nearest police station and tells them about the diamond. The local authorities decide to transfer it to the capital, but all local gangsters are already aware of the stone. How can they move it to the capital city? Claire offered an idea. What did she come up with? They transferred an exact replica of the diamond in a limousine with a great deal of noise, and the original one was secretly transported by an agent. Claire gets a solid reward for the diamond. She throws a fancy party for her friends at her house. Everything goes well. But in the middle of the party, Claire finds out that someone has broken into her safe and stolen a rare ancient scroll. Claire questions 4 suspects: Gerald, Chris, Bianca, and Cheryl. Each swears to have nothing to do with the robbery. Can you guess who the thief is? Gerald is wearing a beautiful sequin jacket, and he dropped a couple of sparkles at the crime scene. Claire gets her scroll back, but Gerald has spilled a drink on it. That's why Claire brings it to Arthur, a chemistry teacher and her old friend. He tries several regions to restore the scroll. Instead, strange runes have appeared on the surface. Can you help them crack this mystery? It's a simple rebus, which means sunflower. Claire decides to check the local sunflower field and leaves right away. And Arthur goes to college because it's time to begin a working day. Soon after that, students find him unconscious in his lab. The police identify 4th suspects: Bob, an English teacher; Tim, the lab assistant; Allison, a student; and Brenda, the cleaning lady. The detective finds a piece of paper near Arthur. Now he knows for sure who attacked the teacher. What about you? The chemistry teacher knows the periodic table very well. He encrypted the criminal's name with the numbers of the elements. So, it was Allison. Meanwhile, Claire explores the sunflower field, but she cannot find anything special. Can you help her spot the clues? Let's take a look at the scarecrow's hat. It has a fake diamond and an arrow pointing down, so she needs to dig there. Claire decides to book a room in a motel near the field. The manager says that she can choose one of 4 available rooms. Can you help Claire find the best option? There's a rat crawling behind a curtain in the 2nd room. As for the 3rd room, there is a weird red stain on the carpet. And there's a cracked ceiling mirror in the 4th room. So Claire should choose the first option. In the morning, Claire goes to the cafeteria to have breakfast. Can you spot 10 differences between these 2 tables? Here they are. Claire's visiting an archaeological conference. One of her colleagues, Mike, performs an important report. The event is over and Claire heads to the toilet. Suddenly, she finds Mike unconscious on the floor. The detective arrives at the crime scene in 15 minutes. He asks the suspects just one question. "What were you doing within the last 15 minutes?" Claire says, "I called 911 and then went to the bathroom." Paul, the guard, says, "I was greeting the guests and giving them badges at the entrance." Mrs. Smith, a respected archaeologist, says, "I was talking on the phone with my daughter." And Ethan, the event manager, says, "I was talking to the catering company in the dining hall." Who's lying? Paul. The event is over. It's too late to greet the guests. Claire arrives from the conference and finds out that her dog is missing. She walks around the block and questions 3 neighbors. Will says, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I have a dog too, and it barked strangely an hour ago as if she'd smelled another dog outside the house." Diana says, "I've been afraid of dogs since childhood, so I stay away from them." And Megan says, "I've just returned from a business trip. I have no idea where your dog is." Who's lying? Diana. Take a look at her window. There's a huge dog in her house. Therefore, she lied. Someone stole the pink diamond found by Claire from the museum. Anna, Mia, and Ellie are best friends and professional thieves. They're kept in isolation cells now because the ladies are accused of stealing the diamond. The judge offers them a plea bargain. If one of them confesses and tells all the details, she will be released. Anna says, "I'll never tell you who did it, but it wasn't me." Mia says, "I have no idea what happened to that diamond, but I wasn't there when it was stolen." And Ellie says, "Mia did it. She's a sleepwalker. She woke me up last night and said that she took the diamond." Who's lying? Ellie. The girls are in isolation cells. Therefore, Mia couldn't confess to her. Claire goes to a pizzeria with her friends. Can you guess who escaped from prison? This lady. The next day, Claire receives a pretty bouquet. All of the flowers it has are orchids, except 2. Also, all of the flowers it has are hibiscuses, except 2. And all of the flowers it has are roses, except 2. Can you tell how many flowers the bouquet has? Two flowers, neither of which are orchids, hibiscuses, or roses. Claire takes a couple of group pictures on the street. Then she takes a closer look and freaks out. One of these people is a ghost. Can you spot it too? There he is. This lady's hand passes through him.
Okay, listen up. Lenora and Luna are twin sisters and vampires. They love Twitter and pranks. Luna lies on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Lenora lies on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On the remaining days, they only tell the truth. Today, to celebrate their 1147th birthday, Luna posts on Twitter, "I lied yesterday," and Lenora comments on her post, "Me too." What day was it? It was Thursday. Luna could say that she lied the day before on Monday or on Thursday, and Lenora on Thursday and Sunday. So for both, it could only be Thursday. Luna and Lenora love messing with humans. They go to a party to find someone delicious. All these guys are vampires, except one. Can you spot the human? Take a closer look at the guy in the middle. He's the only one who has the eyes of a normal human being. Get out. The guy's name is Billy. The sisters lure him into their house. They're in a good mood and decide to give him a choice. Billy can choose which of them would bite him first. Billy answers, and the sisters let him go. What did he say? He said, "Let the more beautiful sister bite me first." Smarty pants. Luna and Lenora have recently visited 2 vampire weddings. Here are 2 pictures. Can you guess which couple is more silly? The first wedding ceremony takes place in a castle, but it's daytime and the sun rays sneak into the room. Meanwhile, the second couple is having a wedding on the beach. They're under a tent, and the sun will soon set. So, the first couple is more silly. Luna and Lenora finally buy a piece of land and start building their dream castle. Luna has the necessary education and controls everything. One evening, she comes over to see how the construction is going. Oh no! Someone has broken an expensive stained glass window. Luna calls 3 workers and questions them. Bob says, "I received the window delivery in the morning and put it in the barn. Then I worked on the floors. I didn't approach it again." Gerald says, "I was hanging TVs that I bought from the store." And Xavier says, "I measured the house in order to make a staircase to the second floor." Who is lying? Gerald. According to his reply, he hung up the TVs, but the castle isn't even completed. Looks like he broke the window and decided to confuse Luna. Well, lucky Gerald. He gets fired instead of bit, and the remaining workers continue construction. Finally, they finish 2 rooms in the castle. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Here they are. There's a trap hidden in this room. Can you find it? It's hidden under this basket. Luna and Lenora are visiting an art workshop. Can you spot who's not from this planet, model or artist? It's the artist. Take a look at his work. He doesn't know how many hands human beings should have. Then they visit a pottery workshop and take these 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Lenora dates a human, Dr. David. She goes to the hospital to visit him. Can you spot which one of these 3 doctors is David? The first guy is wearing a badge. His name is Tom. And the second guy is hiding a police badge, so he probably works undercover. Therefore, David is the third guy. David goes to the basement to get some spooky drinks for Lenora. But someone pushes him from behind and he faints. David wakes up in a weird room with 3 pills in his hand. He has to pass through 3 doors guarded by monsters. Which pill should he use to pass through each door? David should use the invisibility pill for the first door. If he flies, the vampire will turn into a bat and catch him. And the regeneration pill will heal the bite, but David will still become a vampire. As for the second door, he should use the ability to fly. If he becomes invisible, the werewolf will still smell him. Regeneration isn't helpful either, because he may still turn into a werewolf. He should use it for the third door, to make the body invulnerable before meeting a maniac. Meanwhile, Luna is visiting a vampire party. She spots an imposter among the guests right away. Can you find this person too? Only the fourth lady has a shadow, so she's not a vampire. At the party, Luna meets her old friend Glenda. Can you spot her husband? It's the third guy. They're wearing similar pearl earrings. The next evening, Luna is visiting their unfinished castle. She finds out that someone has stolen their expensive antique painting. Only 3 workers had access to this room. Luna questions all of them. Kyle says, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier. The painting was in its place." Bob said, "I was the last to leave yesterday and I locked all the doors in the building. I think this painting is cursed because Kyle got sick after staring at it." And Xavier says, "I just arrived from the architect with new building blueprints. I don't know who did it." Who stole the painting? Xavier. He cut the painting out of the frame, rolled it, and hid it among the blueprints. Lenora and David are shopping together. They choose some clothes and go to try them on. Can you spot what's wrong here? The mirror doesn't reflect properly. What about this picture? Anything odd? David is a human, but Lenora is a vampire. She shouldn't have any reflection. There's a loud quarrel taking place in a jewelry shop. The salesman calls the police and yells, "This customer stole my best emerald tiara." But the customer says, "No, I bought this cheap toy in a $1 shop 2 years ago." Who's lying? The customer. She's hiding another tiara in her hair. Lenora enters a cosmetics store. 3 stylists greet her and offer her free makeup. One of them is a criminal. Can you guess who? The First Lady. She has a pick lock in her makeup brush set. Meanwhile, Luna finds out that the land around their castle is haunted. Can you count the exact number of ghosts in this area? The correct number is 7. Luna goes to sleep and wakes up in a weird place. A creepy note says that Luna can pass through one of these 3 doors. There's a family of hungry lions waiting behind the first door. There's a desert full of snakes and scorpions behind the second door. And there's a creepy ancient vampire hiding behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? Luna should use the third door. She's a vampire too, remember? Lenora and Luna finally move into their new castle. They hire a housemaid to clean the house, and she gets to work right away. Can you spot anything weird? Why would a cat need an electric charger? Luna wants to find a boyfriend, so she starts looking through dating apps. She finds Rick. Can you spot anything odd about him? His kettlebell has 0 weight. Okay, forget him. Luna gives up dating apps and goes on a speed date event for vampires only. There, she meets 3 nice guys. Each tells her a couple of facts about themselves. Olaf says, "I've just turned 5,000 years old and realized that I'm ready for a serious commitment." Vlad says, "I'm from a very ancient and rich vampire family. We have property all over the globe." And Lester says, "For many centuries I lived in Europe and promoted musicians and writers. Now I want to find a girlfriend and start a new chapter of my eternal life. Only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who?" Olaf reflects in the mirror, therefore he's not a real vampire and his story is a lie. And Vlad is stealing the gold cutlery from the table. He's not a golden boy, but a gold digger.
Oh.
So Luna should choose Lester. And this is how love bites.
Billy is a young and ambitious blogger. She's shooting a makeup tutorial for her TikTok. Can you spot anything odd here? The mirror in the background should reflect her back, not her front part. Billy gets an invitation to visit a meetup for famous influencers. This party is epic. Good music, delicious food, and beautiful people. Moreover, every VIP guest gets a bag full of expensive gifts. Suddenly, Billy sees Sebastian. He's a famous video blogger with 20 million followers. And her secret crush. Can you guess which one of these guys is Sebastian? The first guy looks pretty chic, but he has a fake bag, so it's unlikely that he's an influencer. Let's take a look at the remaining two guys. Sebastian has millions of followers. Therefore, he's 100% a VIP guest. Only the third guy carries the gift bag, so he's Sebastian. Billy and Sebastian fall in love, but they want to keep it a secret. That's why they spend a romantic weekend in a forest cabin away from the paparazzi. But unfortunately, someone leaked their picture, and now all the tabloids discuss their secret date. Only 3 people knew about this trip. Billy questions them. Harry, the driver, says, "I brought you to the cabin on Saturday and picked you up on Sunday, just like you asked. I didn't tell anyone because I signed a non-disclosure agreement." Billy's assistant, Amy, says, "I booked the cabin under my own name so that no one would figure out that you're hosting celebrities." And Sebastian's sister, Bianca, says, "I didn't tell anyone about your date. I was feeling sick. I had to stay home alone because my daughters were at school." Who's lying? Bianca, schools are closed on weekends. A new spa salon invites Billy over for a promotion campaign. She goes to the pedicure room and sees these 3 clients. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her feet. After the sauna, Billy goes to the shower and washes her hair. Unfortunately, someone pranked her by replacing the shampoo with paint. Can you guess who did it? The lady on the right is guilty. There's paint on her hand. Billy decides to eat in her favorite restaurant. She enters and sees these 3 guys. Can you guess who's having a date? It looks like the first guy is having a romantic dinner with his book. And the third gentleman has 1 set of dishes. Meanwhile, the second guy has 2 plates on his table and he's hiding a small gift in his pocket. So he's the only one who's waiting for his date. Sebastian invites Billy to a family dinner to introduce her to his mother, Prudence. They arrive and find her in the middle of a quarrel with the police. Prudence claims that her housemaid stole her antique pearl necklace, but the housemaid denies everything. Who's lying? Prudence. The pearls are in her hair. The next day, Billy goes hiking with her friends. They take some pictures for her blog. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? over here. What about these two pictures? Can you find 5 differences? Here they are. Billy meets her old friends. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. Billy has to make a quick phone call, and she walks outside. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Luna lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. There's a weird mark on her cheek. The waitress says that it looks like a vampire's bite. One of Billy's friends must have turned into a vampire. She decides to invite her friends for lunch to find out who exactly. Guys, let's have a picnic on the beach tomorrow and discuss who bit Luna. How can Billy identify the vampire? Billy should invite her friends to the beach. The one who would refuse to go there must be a vampire. Billy throws a birthday party at her house. She only eats plants. That's why she hires the most trendy cook to prepare a classy vegetarian dinner. The party goes great. Everyone has fun. The next day, Billy finds out that someone had replaced salt and sugar in her kitchen jars. Billy questions 4 suspects. The cook says, "Miss, I wouldn't have become a celebrity chef if I wasted my time on silly pranks." Dan says, "I gorged myself on chicken nuggets at the very beginning of the party, and then I stayed away from the kitchen and the food." Emma says, "I think I saw someone rummaging through the kitchen when I was swimming in the pool." And Sebastian says, "That wasn't me, but you should check everyone's phones. The prankster probably filmed everything." Who's lying? Damn, it was a veggie party. He couldn't have eaten the chicken nuggets. Billy wants to find her new business partners, so she's visiting a conference and meets 3 people. Each person offers Billy a collaboration. Megan says, "I developed my own fashion line and I've recently launched my first offline boutique. Would you like to be the face of my brand?" Jeanette says, "I run the largest marketing company in the country. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, I'll find the best deals for you." And Francois says, "Lady, you should sell beauty products under your own name. I can help you launch a business." Only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at Francois. He has stolen someone else's badge, so he's an imposter. And Jeanette is wearing a waitress uniform under her fancy jacket. It's unlikely that she's a company owner, so Billy should trust Megan. The next week, Megan invites Billy to a photo shoot. Billy arrives at the studio, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-number code. Her phone battery has discharged, and unfortunately, she doesn't remember the code by heart. Do you have any clue what it might be? We should take a look at this poster and count the number of petals in each daisy. So the code is 58677. Billy enters the studio and sees Megan, the photographer and stylist, and a bunch of pretty clothes and shoes. Can you count the exact number of shoes in this picture? The correct answer is 13. 4 people are wearing 8 shoes, plus 5 more are scattered around the studio. The photo shoot is about to begin, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Billy finds out that her smartwatch is missing. She questions 3 suspects. The stylist says, "I was cleaning my makeup sponge when the lights turned off. I didn't move from my place." The photographer says, "I have my own smartwatch. Why would I need yours?" And Megan says, "Come on, you're a famous influencer. Why would I ruin my own reputation?" Who's lying? The photographer. Billy's watch is wrapped around his camera lens. After work, Billy meets Sebastian in their favorite restaurant. They ask the waiter to take their picture. He takes 2. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, they go for a walk. Can you spot 3 odd things here? Fish swim on the surface of this window. Also, this lady is wearing a snake instead of a scarf. And this taxi is driven by a raccoon. Lucy is a powerful witch. She gets a task to find a wicked enchantress, Rowan, who's hiding inside a beauty salon in the human world. Lucy walks in and sees 3 hairdressers. Can you help her spot Rowan? The first lady is holding a broom, but she just sweeps hair off the floor. It's just part of her job. Although the third lady has green hair and witchy style. It doesn't prove that she's a magical creature. But take a look at the second hairdresser. She's mixing something in her bowl. Regular hair dye doesn't spark, so she's Rowan. Lucy catches Rowan and sends her back to prison. The hairdressers want to thank Lucy, so they invite her to the local cafeteria for lunch. Can you guess which customer is broke? Take a look at the signs. This one says, any item, $1. The third lady got soup and free water. Meanwhile, others had to pay for several items. Therefore, she's probably the one who's broke. Lucy meets a handsome guy in the cafeteria, Rob. They get along, and he invites her on a date. Rob wants to impress Lucy and takes her to a photography exhibition. Rob is a photographer. He took these pictures a few months ago. Suddenly, one art critic says, "Some of these photos are not real. What a scandal!" Can you spot any fake photos? This one, the shadow under the bridge doesn't belong there. Rob wants to recover his reputation. That's why he goes on a dangerous trip across the desert to take some epic pictures. But he gets lost in the evening. Oh no! A massive sandstorm is coming. Rob has to find a place to hide. He comes up with 3 ideas. Run away from the sandstorm, hide behind a big rock, or hide in a dried riverbed. What should he do? A human can't run away from a sandstorm. The wind speed is too high. The riverbed is too low. The sandstorm can easily reach him there. Therefore, Rob should pick the rock. It'll cover him up completely. After the trip, Rob gets hired as a photographer at the alumni reunion party. 4 friends, Vlad, Luna, Gabriel, and Lenora, ask him to take their picture. Only one of them is not a vampire. Can you guess who? Take a look at the decoration. It says that they graduated 20 years ago. Vlad is the only one who's getting older, so he's not a vampire. The party goes on. 3 girlfriends are taking pictures together. Suddenly, they spot their former classmate, Crystal. She wasn't popular at school, but now she's a famous blogger. They ask Crystal for a few selfies with her. Can you spot who's Crystal? Only this lady is in all the pictures, so she's Crystal. Rob takes a couple of group shots. Then, he takes a closer look and sees that one of the guests is a runaway criminal from the TV news. Can you spot this person too? There he is. Meanwhile, Lucy returns to the magic world. She has 4 barrels of excellent punch. Lucy was saving them for her birthday party, which will start in 24 hours. She enters the storage room and sees that someone had stolen her beauty potion, the one which dyes hair pink permanently. Lucy finds a note nearby. I put the pink hair potion in one of your punch barrels. Guess which one? Good luck! Lucy has to find the enchanted barrel before the party starts. She knows that the potion would work in 10 hours. Luckily, she has one friend who wants pink hair, Marta. Lucy decides to test the punch on her. How can she check 4 barrels in 21 hours? Lucy should give Marta the punch from the first barrel right away. Then the second barrel's punch an hour later, and the third 2 hours later. If Marta's hair becomes pink in 10 hours, the first barrel is enchanted. If she changes her hair color in 11 hours, it's the second barrel to blame. And if she gets pink-haired in 12 hours, it's the third barrel. But if Marta stays blonde, the fourth barrel is enchanted. Lucy and Rob become an official couple. They want to rent a new apartment to live together. They can't choose between these 2 options. Can you guess which place belongs to a vampire? This one. It has no windows at all. Lucy's father, Magnus, is a very rich and powerful wizard. Lucy and Rob attend dinner at his house. Lucy doesn't know yet, but the cook was bribed to poison Magnus. The cook brings a separate dish for each family member because everyone has their own tastes and needs. You can save Magnus if you figure out which one is his dish. We know the following information. Lucy is allergic to fish and has diabetes. Magnus doesn't think about healthy eating. Esmeralda takes care of her shape and also she has lactose intolerance. As for Rob, he's a vegetarian. Which dish is for Magnus? This one. Lucy and Rob get an invitation to a barbecue party from their neighbor, William. They arrive at the appointed time and see William lying in the backyard, unconscious. A police car and an ambulance are already there. William left an uncooked piece of meat in the cold barbecue. There's a tray with seasonings, a knife, and a fork on the table. Rob questions 2 other guests. Bella says, "The police said that Will was attacked about an hour ago. I was in the kitchen. I heard a strange noise and ran outside." Frank says,
My house is very far from here. I just got back from the store. I heard a scream and rushed over. Wait a minute, what's there? Seems like Lucy dropped her earring.
Rob understands who attacked William right away. What about you? Frank said that he just came over, but he knew that the barbecue was cold. That's why he wasn't scared to put his hands inside. Rob realized that Frank was trying to frame Lucy. Lucy and Rob are getting married. Everything goes well, and the ceremony is about to begin. But suddenly, Lucy disappears. Later, Rob finds her in the broom closet. Someone had hit her on the head and escaped. Who did it? It's the waitress. There's a necklace from Lucy's jewelry set in her pocket. The wedding ceremony goes on. After that, Magnus gives Lucy and Rob a new house as a gift. It took 80 men 1,000 hours to build it. How long would it take 40 men to build it? No time at all, because it's already built. Rob is driving near a big shopping mall. He sends Lucy a message asking if he should buy anything. She replies with this odd riddle. My life is generally measured in hours. I serve by being devoured. Thin, I am quick. Fat, I am slow. The wind is my foe. Can you guess what he should buy? A candle. Rob grabs a candle and goes to the checkout. Oh no, I forgot my wallet in the car. One customer from the line offers Rob a deal.
I'm gonna pay for your candle if you crack my puzzle.
Rob agrees. Here's the riddle.
I go through a door, but never come in or go out. What am I?
The correct answer is a keyhole. Lucy is exploring the local haunted house. Can you count the exact number of ghosts in this area? The correct number is 8. Lucy hears loud screams from the basement. She goes there to check. Looks like it's filled with sleeping gas. Lucy faints and wakes up locked in her room. There are 4 doors with some weird runes. Suddenly, Lucy hears a creepy voice from somewhere above. The only way to get out of here alive is through door C. Good luck. Can you help Lucy find door C? Here it is. Each sign means a double letter. Lucy finds the right door and escapes. In the garden, she meets a group of witches dancing around the fire. One of them is a fake witch. Can you guess who? This lady. She's using a vertical vacuum cleaner instead of a broom.
Yo, Sherlock, are you ready for some more detective challenges? Well, grab your pipe and let's go.
Yeah.
Successful businessman Jeff walked into his home office one day and realized that his safe was open and the money and documents were gone. He immediately called the police. When the detective arrived, she found out that everyone in the house had an alibi. Amy, Jeff's wife, said she had been working out at the gym that morning. The cleaner answered that she had been cleaning the basement and hadn't heard anything. And the cook told the detective he had been in the kitchen all day preparing meals and had never left it. The detective immediately figured the case out. Can you do the same? It was the cook. He said he had never left the kitchen, but look at his shoes. They're muddy. On a sunny morning, a traveler is wandering through the jungle. All of a sudden, the path splits up into 3 smaller roads. One leads to a dangerous marsh that swallows everything and everybody that gets there. The second road leads to vampire hunting grounds. And the third path will bring the traveler to an active volcano filled with red-hot lava. Which road is the safest? The traveler should take the second path. Even if vampires do exist, they don't show up in daylight. Lucas lived in the center of Paris, but he didn't like the Eiffel Tower. So every day, he had dinner in the only place from which he 100% couldn't see the construction. What was this place? Lucas always had dinner in a restaurant at the top of the Eiffel Tower. The police got a call from a woman. She claimed to have heard some strange noise from the house next door. The police arrived and saw that the door to the basement was open. They went downstairs and saw two men. One of them shouted, "This man kidnapped me! I've been here for a week and have just managed to break free from the cuffs." The other man replied angrily, "You're lying! You are the kidnapper! I set myself free just minutes ago." The police checked the fingerprints all over the basement. Look at them and try to figure out which man is the kidnapper. It's this guy. You can see only his fingerprints on the switch, and since the switch is too high above the floor, the victim wouldn't have been able to reach it. Alan was on his way to work. When he was passing by a dark alley, he heard a loud scream. The man went back to check it out. Someone was shouting, "Help me! I'm trapped!" As soon as Alan saw the alley, he called the police and ran away. Why? There are two sets of footprints going into the alley, but no footprints coming out. Tim worked on a large cruise ship. One day, the captain asked him to go to the hold to get some supplies. But as the man was walking down the ladder, it broke, and he fell to the floor of the hold. Try as he might, he couldn't get out. Sometime later, he discovered there was a hole in the side of the ship. More and more water was getting inside through this hole. How can Tim get out? He can put on one of the life jackets that are in the room and wait for the water to fill the hole. The water will lift him and he'll be able to push the door open. Let's check how attentive you are. Can you figure out which of these prehistoric people is actually from the future? It's the girl frying that large piece of meat. Next to her, there's a backpack and a flashlight. Now, look at these people waiting in the doctor's office. Who is an alien from another planet? It's this guy. Look at his bandage. It's soaked in some liquid, or is it blood? And it's blue. How about these people working in the garden? Can you spot a space traveler? It's actually none of these people. The real alien is hiding behind that tomato bush. Once, Jim saw a beautiful girl in his favorite cafe. He came up to her and introduced himself. The girl was really nice. She promised to give Jim her phone number if he guessed her name. Then she wrote something on a piece of paper and gave it to Jim. After thinking for a while, Jim told the girl his answer and got her phone number. What was her name? Eve, because December 31st is New Year's Eve. Rob works as a mechanic in his own garage. One afternoon, he went out to get some supplies. When he came back, he noticed someone had been to his office. The intruder tried to put everything back the way it had been before, but they forgot some small details. Can you spot them? There's a lipstick mark on Rob's coffee cup, and his chair is lowered. Mrs. Ruth was heading home after buying ingredients for her burger party. Suddenly, she saw someone running towards her. This person grabbed her bag filled with food and her wallet.
Oh no!
The woman immediately called the police. She reported what had happened and added that it was a man wearing sunglasses and a black hoodie. Police officers started patrolling the park. They found the hoodie and the glasses. Can you figure out which of these people took Mrs. Ruth's things? It's the one with the dog. The animal can smell the meat the man's holding and is waiting for a treat. Chris went on a boat trip to explore marine life. While sailing, he saw a storm coming. The man needed to get out of the water immediately. There were 3 islands in front of him, but only one was safe. The first island was filled with venomous spiders. The waters around the second island were swarming with sharks, and the third island was littered with white bones. Which place should Chris opt for? He should pick the second island. Sharks can't survive on land, and Chris will be fine there. David and Hannah got stranded on a tiny uninhabited island. You think Chris might be there? Nah, never mind. They had neither radios nor cell phones and couldn't inform rescuers about their dire situation. On top of that, there were no trees on the island, and the guys couldn't make a smoke signal. Suddenly, Hannah noticed a plane that was circling in the sky in search of them. Unfortunately, it was flying too high, and the pilot couldn't notice them. But suddenly, David got an idea. As a result, the plane picked them up in no time. What was David's idea? David and Hannah used stones to lay out the letters SOS on the sand. A Michelin chef called the police to report that someone had hit him on the head. He came around in the storage room. The detectives narrowed it down to 3 suspects working in the restaurant. The cook said, "I don't know what happened to the chef. He just disappeared, but I didn't think to check the storage room." The waiter replied, "I was too busy with customers and didn't even look for the chef." And the cleaner said, "I was organizing the cellar because it was dirty." When the detectives heard that, they knew right away who did it. Can you figure it out too? It was the cook. Nobody told him the chef had come to his senses in the storage room. Can you crack this rebus puzzle? It means no one to blame. How about this one? It's repeat after me. Haha, now I see it. How about this one? A small hint. You need to be extra attentive to crack this one. That's I'm missing you. And probably the trickiest of them all. Try to tackle it. That's a backward glance. Ouch.
Today, I'm going to put your attentiveness to the test. Pay attention to every little detail, and you'll solve all the riddles in no time. Mark was walking along the river when he heard someone screaming. It was a young woman who was drowning. The guy immediately left his jacket and backpack on the ground and jumped into the water. Luckily, he was on time. When Mark pulled the woman out of the river, he saw a passerby standing next to his stuff.
Unfortunately, I can't swim, but I looked after your things,
The man said. Then why did you rummage in my backpack? Mark asked. How did he understand someone had opened his backpack? When he dropped the bag on the ground, the zipper was on the left side, but now it's on the right side. It was a scorching hot day when Thomas made a bet with his friends. At that time, they were chilling in the garden, drinking water and lemonade. Thomas told his friends that water produced by different companies tasted different too. You can blindfold me. I'll take a sip from 2 bottles of water, the one we have on the table and the one from a different producer. I saw it in the kitchen. I bet I'll be able to tell the difference. Then he did exactly that. His friends were ready to give Thomas the money he had won. But one of them cut in.
You were cheating,
he said. Why did he think so? It was an extremely hot day. No wonder the water had been outside for several hours, which was much warmer than the water brought from the kitchen. Someone robbed a bank in a large city. A police detective went to visit the main suspect, who had been detained several times before.
I've been feeling unwell this week, and I haven't left my apartment for 3 days. Luckily, I didn't need food. My fridge is full. You can make sure of it yourself,
the man said, and opened his fridge. But the detective realized the man was lying and arrested him. How did he figure it out? First of all, that loaf of bread on the table looks fresh. Plus, if the man had been staying inside for 3 days already, his fridge wouldn't be so full. Mr. Black sold beautiful, rare vases. There were dozens of them on the shelves of his store. One day, the man called the police. When they arrived, the owner had his head bandaged and his store was a mess. Some guys in masks ran into my store and grabbed the money and the most expensive vases. Then they hit me on the head and I blacked out. Police officers immediately understood that Mr. Black was lying to get the insurance money. How did they figure it out? Even though most of the vases are on the floor, they aren't even cracked. But if the vases had fallen down from the shelves during the robbery, they would have been shattered. Look at these two bloggers. As you see, they both seem to be very popular. They also have the same amount of likes, but there's something wrong with one of them. She must be hiding something. What is it? The girl on the right has a fake bag. The logo on it looks like that of Chanel, but it's written Gucci underneath. Marcel was driving along a dangerous mountain road. Suddenly, he saw a man sitting on the side of the road and stopped. It turned out the man hadn't managed to control his car. It fell off the road and the man got thrown out of the window. And now, his very expensive car was beyond repair.
Could you be my witness when I prepare the documents for my insurance company?
The man asked Marcel. The guy agreed, but asked the man to show him what was inside the car. The man took the key out of his pocket and unlocked the damaged vehicle. "I won't take part in this fraud," Marcel said. Why did he think the man was lying? If the man had been thrown out of the car, the key would still be in the ignition. Dylan and Susan had been happily married for 10 years. One day, Dylan went on a business trip. When he returned, Susan immediately understood that the man wasn't her husband. How did she figure it out? Dylan always wore his wedding ring. If you were attentive, you must have noticed it on his finger. But the man who returned to Susan didn't have the wedding ring. The police found out that a smuggler was going to leave the country through the largest airport in the city. A detective arrived there and detained 3 people who looked suspicious. Look at them and try to figure out who the smuggler is. It's the third passenger. His suitcase is full of totally random stuff. Women's shoes, some random socks, a pair of old dirty jeans, and even a wig. Plus, when closed, the suitcase looks much larger than when it's open. Sarah's husband, Michel, was a professional cyclist. He was about to have a challenging cycling tournament. "I promise I'll bring you the bouquet they give to the winner," Michel told Sarah. 4 hours later, he came back with beautiful flowers. But Sarah realized right away that Michel hadn't won the tournament. How did she figure it out? Those flowers are actually from Sarah's garden. The same flowers are growing next to their house. Look at these people. The man is in the hospital. He's lost his memory. And these two women both claim to be his partner. One of them is obviously lying, but which one? The woman on the left is lying. If they were married, they would have wedding rings on their fingers. Now, there are these three people. One of them is lying. Who is it? Look at this woman claiming that she's pregnant. See that Adam's apple? It's a man. He can't be pregnant. Look at these people. Can you figure out who's a vampire? It's this man. See those fangs? Creepy. Which of these girls is the man's wife? It's the girl on the right. She's wearing a necklace saying Kate, and the man has a tattoo with the same name on his arm. A store security guard stopped a man who was leaving a clothing store. "The sales assistant claims you've stolen a pair of expensive gloves."
These are my gloves. I've had them for ages.
But the security guard immediately understood the man was lying. How? The man wouldn't be able to use these gloves. They're both for the same hand. Rachel reached the final of a game show. In the last round, she could win a gold bar, but only if she managed to get it. One of the bars was in a container with boiling hot water. The jar containing the second bar was filled with strong acid. And in the third jar, there were venomous scorpions. Which container should Rachel choose? The woman just needs to wait until the water in the first jar cools down and take the gold bar. Detective Adams came to a park to have lunch in the sun, but his attention was drawn by three men running around a fountain. Each of them was shouting, "Thief! Catch the thief!" The detective was confused. Who was the real thief? That's why he just kept watching. After some time, the distance between the men shortened. Detective Adams immediately realized who the real thief was. Can you figure it out too? If the third man was the thief, the second one would only have to turn around to catch him. The same goes for the second man, which means the man running the first is the criminal. If it rains at midnight, can you expect that in 72 hours it will be sunny? No way! In 72 hours, it's gonna be night again. Can you crack this rebus puzzle? That's right, it means accelerate.